From on Tuesday's election, let's cross live now to Nairobi. Let's welcome our reporter on the scene there, Aldrin Sampear. Aldrin, take it away. What do you have for us at this hour?
Well, we continue with our coverage of the Kenyan elections as campaigning is continuing here around Kenya. And at the moment, we're in a province called the Rift Valley, but quite specifically at a stadium here in Ngong, where we expect the Jubilee presidential candidate Uhuru Kenyatta to come and address the party hopefuls. As you can see that some of the Jubilee members have come and made their way here to the stadium. Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to be addressing them from the truck that is just right behind me. I was actually saying that we would have expected him to be here by now, but shame, man, it has been such a battle in terms of campaigning, crisscrossing the country, not only for him but also for the likes of Raila Odinga, and I guess for the 6 other presidential candidates as well, who want to lead East Africa's biggest economy. And right now I'm joined by one of our correspondents here in Kenya, Sarah Kimani. So great to see you finally. So great to be with Sarah Kimani as well here in Kenya. Tell me, what is it about these elections? You know, we've had the 2013 elections, but it almost seems that these elections are quite pivotal. Why? What makes that so important?
Well, thank you, Aldrin. These elections is actually being called a high-stakes election. And one of the reasons is because the 2 main candidates, Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, are each going neck to neck according to the opinion polls. Now, Uhuru Kenyatta is seeking his 2nd term and final term, while Raila Odinga is going for the 4th time, and also this is his final time that he's trying. One, because he has signed a memorandum of understanding with his running mate that he will not be attempting to run again, and also because of age. He's aging now, and so he has said that he will be stepping aside to let other people make an attempt at the presidency.
You were actually saying when we were making our way here to Rift Valley as well, that this might be the last elections in Kenya where you see people as old as Raila Odinga.
Yes, because the population of Kenya now is very young, just like the rest of the continent. If you look at 65% of the people who are registered to vote, most of them are below the age of 35. If you look at the other seats apart from the presidency, if you go to the seats of the governor, the senator, the member of parliament, the young women who are coming up to vie as women representatives and councillors, what we call councillors in South Africa, or young people beyond 28, 30, 35. So yes, indeed, this is the last election where we are going to see very many old people. Young people are edging out the older generation.
Well, certainly, you know, also looking at these elections, and I wonder why there's such a focus when speaking about these elections, the 2017 elections. Most of the references then make to what happened in 2007, instead of saying, listen, what happened back in 2013, because we had an election in 2013, which was also mainly contested. The 2 front runners at the time was also Uhuru Kenyatta, who was going for his 1st term, and Raila Odinga, who was going for his 3rd term. Why is that constant reference to what happened in 2007? And I see now, even with the number of observers, a record high, about 4,000 observers to be part of these elections.
Well, one of the things is that we are drawing parallels between what happened in 2007 and what is happening now. Just before the 2007 elections, there was a lot of political rhetoric. The opposition saying we will not accept an election if it is not free and fair. And now we are seeing the same thing coming up from the opposition, saying we will only accept the results of the elections if they are credible. President Kenyatta saying, I will concede if I'm defeated. However, remember in 2013, President Kenyatta and his running mate had cases at the International Criminal Court over that violence. So Kenyans were very careful. This time, the opposition has said, if we feel we have not lost fairly, we are not going to court. What does that mean? Just like in 2007, probably the only other thing they will do is go onto the streets. The Kenyan police has said, we will not allow anybody onto the streets. So a confrontation awaits there. Now, what we have seen is that a lot of people now very scared that there may be a repeat of 2007. Those who live in the cities are fleeing home. Those who are at home are going to places where they find to be safe.
And speaking about the political rhetoric as well, we saw a statement that was issued by the judiciary here in Kenya calling on party politicians to be very careful in the type of rhetoric that they send out. Raila Odinga, for instance, has indicated that should a certain ruling be that the IEBC be the one that announces the results of the presidential elections, that they will go to the streets. Is that one of the issues that is a burning issue, considering that now, for instance, you have the judiciary also coming into question?
Well, the judiciary has tried to stamp its authority as an independent body, but it has been coming under attack from all sides. We've had the president and his deputy coming out in public rallies to say that the judiciary is taking sides. We have had the opposition also attacking the judiciary, but the Chief Justice David Maraga has several times come out to say, listen, you must respect the judiciary, because if anything happens, if the election is contested, then the judiciary will be the last resort. The case goes to the Supreme Court, and they must decide. There must be the neutral arbiter who decides. All observers, including South Africa's Thabo Mbeki, Ghana's John Mahama, have all come out and said, respect the judiciary, because that will be the last resort. However, we are having the opposition saying they do not see themselves going to court if they contest the elections.
And it's such a dangerous thing when you start casting aspersions on the last arbiter, the last person who would be the mediator and try to find a solution to the disputed elections, should the elections be disputed. And that particular body is already being discredited, not only by the opposition parties, but also by the governing party.
Yes, and that raises concerns even among the civil society in Kenya. But also, the Independent Elections and Boundaries Commission has had a lot of time on the corridors of justice in court. They have spent so much time there trying to, fight cases brought forward by the opposition, by civil society. And so sometimes some people feeling that they're not well prepared to carry out the elections. But just 2 days ago, they did a simulation of the electronic tallying system and transmission of results. And yesterday, they issued a statement saying all the agents of the political parties are comfortable with that. So we are hoping, with the IEBC now having gotten a clean bill of health at this point, then maybe there will be no need to go to the judiciary, and that Kenyans will be satisfied with the results that come out come the 9th of this month.
The police also playing quite an important role leading up to the elections, and of course on election day, and probably post-election day as well. Looking at the murder of Chris Msando, as well as the lady that he was with, looking at the attack at William Ruto's house as well, the breaking at William Ruto's house, but also the incidents of Al-Shabaab insurgents still continuing. What would you say the level of anxiety is at for Kenyans when it comes to this?
Well, like any election on the continent, and when political competition is so tight, when the stakes are so high, I must admit that tensions are very high in the country. There's anxiety, there's, a wait and see kind of thing. 2 days ago, the police called a press conference to say that they're having more than 150,000 security officers out on the ground to be able to man the elections, to man the polling stations, to man areas that they believe are hotspots. But also, on the other hand, they have the military on the border with Kenya because of the threat of Al-Shabaab militants. So that will also be taken into consideration. Of course, the police will be under a great spotlight because in 2007, 400 people who were killed during the post-election violence were killed by police. So, of course, issues of human rights will once again be coming out during these elections.
And just looking at the investigation into Chris Msando's death, and of course him being the IT head of the IEBC, or was the IT head at the IEBC, I was watching a local channel last night, and they were speaking about this issue and how some people may lack confidence in the police, considering that they haven't even been able to deal with this issue of the murder of Chris Msando.
The Inspector General of Police, Joseph Boynet, has said that it's too early for them to be judged, that they have not done anything. But they're saying that they're already investigating. They're holding 6 people. They have questioned 6 people. And they're looking for 3 other people who they believe may have crucial information. However, we must remember that Chris Msando was important. He was central to this election because he was the head of ICT. He was in charge of the election, vote tallying and transmission system. So a lot of fears then coming into play that the elections may actually not be free and fair because of that part of a crucial person missing.
Well, certainly understanding why there would be that level of anxiety, as well as from opposition parties as well, now that you have the death or the murder of Chris Msanda. But these are, of course, elections that will be watched quite closely. A number of international reporters from different media houses also part of the elections to come and observe and bring you the elections. And SABC News is part of those of the media contingent, and will be bringing you the latest developments with regards to the Kenyan elections. And as I've indicated, we're just waiting now for Uhuru Kenyatta to come and address the crowds here at the Gong Stadium. Back to you in studio.
Thank you so much to our reporter there on the scene. That's Aldrin Sampear, joined by our East African correspondent Sarah Kimani. And they were just deliberating ahead of Tuesday's poll. And we've just heard there as well that about 150,000 police officers have been deployed to make sure that there's no violent scenes during and as well as after the elections.